Well, this is a song about the women's problem. It was written by Yoko and I, and the song is called Woman is the Nigger of the World. And obviously there was a few people that reacted strangely to it, but usually they were white and male. But that's not... Now, I'll tell you the story of how it came about. In 1969, I put it on the cover of the single so as it helps explain it a bit. Yoko did an interview with a woman about the woman's problem, and I didn't have anything to do with it. And then I noticed the cover. It was called Nova. It's an English woman's magazine like McCall's or something like that. And the first time I heard about it was I saw it on the cover of McCall's like that. And it sort of said, she, woman is the nigger of the world. Well, at the time, I was more of a chauvinist than I am now. And I must say, I was saying, well, come on, what about this and what about that? And I argued a lot. And then, as like everybody else, we talked more and more about it. In the last 2 years, it became more of a thing. And I had to, you know, find out about myself and my attitude to women. And this phrase of hers kept coming through my head, woman is the nigger of the world, woman is the nigger. So I said, come on, Yoko, look, this is it. You've said it here. I agree with you now. I think she is. She's the slave of the slaves. That's what Connolly said, the great Irishman. And so we sat down together and we wrote, we tried to write together the whole story as best we could in a 3 or 4 minute song. And it's called Woman is the Nigger of the World. And then luckily for me, because a lot of stations were saying, well, we're not going to play this because it says nigger and a white man shouldn't say it, though all my black friends feel I have quite a right to say it because they understand it. And then, strangely enough, the chairman of the Black Caucus, that great guy, Congressman Ron Dellums, Democrat California, says here, he came out with this, which is fantastic. If you define niggers as someone whose lifestyle is defined by others, whose opportunities are defined by others, whose role in society is defined by others, then good news. You don't have to be black to be a nigger in this society. Most of the people in America are niggers. I didn't say that. Oh, my goodness. We'll never get in now.
Welcome to the Strange Findings Podcast. It has been a long fucking time, but I am Frank, and with me, as always, Ray McGuff.
Hello.
So, it seems kind of weird doing this show. I realized while I was looking this shit up because, like, I couldn't find any stories that were really weird enough to not just, I mean, everything, we could just do regular news at this point. Don't you think?
Well, it's funny that you say that because my first news story is a regular news story. Right. And then I've got two sequential, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got two sequential stories that are weird, but they're not nearly as weird as the main story.
Right.
That's regular news.
Yeah. I was looking up, all these different websites, and I'm like, like the shit that we could just talk about what has happened in just, national regular news. And it's just crazy, weird, insane things. So let's go ahead and see what your first topic is. Let's get into Ray's findings. Ray's findings.
All right. This just in, Frank. Washington, D.C. Are you familiar with Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, that's where all the assholes are, right?
Yes. All of America, I believe it's kind of like the Hunger Games. Once you become 29 and a Republican, they ship you off. They have like a lottery, and then they ship you off to Washington, D.C., to become a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I think that what they do is they hollow out any kind of humanity that might be lurking within your persona, and then they fill the void with money and hookers and probably the blood of infants. That's what I'm going to go with.
What it's like for our listeners that are Star Wars fans, it's if every Sith Lord called out at the same time for a Padawan learner.
See, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's on point. But anyways.
That's it. All right, so my top news story is Washington, D.C., possible sex monster appointed to the Supreme Court. That's right.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Brett Kavanaugh, who apparently has a history of just being terrible to women and people in general, was confirmed to the Supreme Court. Here, let me just give you a brief overview if you're listener and you're not familiar. Brett Kavanaugh is a judge. He's nominated by the President of the United States for a seat on the Supreme Court. They go to do his job interview, which is a committee meeting, of several people. They ask him questions. Before that meeting, a woman, a very credible woman, comes out and says that Brett Kavanaugh assaulted her when she was at a party and when they were teenagers. So they stopped the proceedings and they interviewed her, and then they went back and interviewed him. In his second meeting with the panel, now remember this is for a job interview. This isn't a trial. They're not trying to prove whether or not he actually did these things.
That's what I want to stop and look at it like this. If you were at an interview at Burger King, right?
Right.
And you're just sitting there like, well, where did you work before? I worked at McDonald's, didn't like it there. Thought, hey, gonna up my game, come over here to the King. And then some woman sees you, like she's over ordering a burger. She sees you and goes, "Hey, that motherfucker raped me." I guarantee you, no matter whether he did it or not, he wouldn't get the Burger King job.
Right. They wouldn't have a second interview, but they did it for this guy for some reason, right? So my favorite part of this. And also my least favorite part is when he goes back in front of this for the second interview. Now, everybody has known and talked to the lady that claims that she assaulted him, and they go, "What do you have to say for yourself?" And instead of composing himself and saying, "Listen, if he didn't do it, if he would have just said, I don't believe that this woman is lying. I think somebody hurt her, but it wasn't me. I don't know who would have done that. I'm shocked that somebody in my group of friends might have been capable of that, but my record doesn't suggest anything like that, and blah, blah, blah." He didn't do that, though. This guy proceeds to have a 4-hour hissy fit where he's screaming, "I love beer. I've had beer," at senators. And they still confirmed him to the highest court in the land. He will be, and that's a lifelong appointment. He can't be fired. He could never show up and still be on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So he's for the rest of his life he's in. And all these Republicans are singing and dancing and we did it. And what did they do? What did they really do? All they did was put a guy with questionable background on the Supreme Court because he likes the same shit they do. Yeah. That's like if you and I were like we're running this podcast and you were like, "Hey, I got this buddy who wants to be on the podcast. He likes the same shit we do, but he probably diddles kids."
Yeah.
Is that you gonna have a problem with that, Ray? I would probably have a problem with that, but these guys don't seem to have a problem with it. So.
Yeah. The thing that I thought was strange that they didn't do was like, okay, the world's watching this thing unravel. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, this dude is lying. Like, first of all, if you are being asked a question, your least important thing you're concerned about is how much water's in your cup. Oh, well, it's time to get a fucking drink, or what was he writing down, Because there was literally nothing he had to do at that point aside from pay attention to the person that was talking to him. And he couldn't... It's like, all these things are just signs of a liar. And I'm like...
Yeah. He evades the question. He gets angry. He's reading from this weird calendar from 1982.
Yeah.
He's going, "I remember hanging out at Tobin's house, lifting weights." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now? What are you crying? You can't cry in a job interview."
Oh my God. Yeah, and it's like they couldn't pull some other old rich white asshole out of somewhere that didn't have rape. I mean, let's say they bring a different white rich asshole and put him up there,
yeah.
And then a woman's like, "He raped me." They're like, "Okay, there's something weird going on here."
Right.
That's when you say that, but not right off the bat, the first one, because that's insane.
About 4 months ago, before they announced, or 5 months ago, before they announced this guy, literally everybody around Donald Trump was asked, "Have you seen Donald Trump's list of people that he wants to pick for the Supreme Court?" Because they had to narrow it down to one guy or a girl, right? We know Republicans, it's going to be a guy, a white male Christian. But anyways, it's definitely not going to be a black or a woman. But and everybody said every judge on that list is exactly the same type of person they want. So this one guy that was his chief of staff at the time, literally said, I could throw a dart at that list and I would be happy with any of the names. So there was an entire list of people they could have went with that doesn't have women coming out of the woodwork going, hey, this guy fucking gets drunk and puts his dick in people's faces.
Yeah.
You know?
But the thing I thought was weird that, the whole world's watching this thing, and I'm noticing that this guy's doing body language that's leading me to believe that he's lying. Why didn't they have a professional person who, evaluates body language be like, yeah, the dude's fucking lying, And what happened to the goddamn polygram test? Why couldn't they do that anyways?
The polygraph, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The other thing was, too, they brought a woman in to question the lady that was making the accusations so that it wasn't all men, and that woman was a prosecutor for sexual assaults. So why didn't they have her interview Kavanaugh as well? That's her bread and butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like going to Law and Order SVU and then moving one of the hate crimes people over, and just going, oh no, he's going to take it from here. Well, he doesn't specialize in that. Oh well, he knows he's a cop.
Yeah, he's a cop. Man,
yeah, I mean, it was a circus on a level I've never seen before, and I'm ashamed to live. I was telling my dad this last night. We were talking about this very thing. I said, I'm ashamed to live in this country right now.
Yeah.
And I've never felt that way my whole life. I've never been ashamed. I've been embarrassed before, especially during the Bush years. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I've never been ashamed. I'm fucking ashamed to live here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I see, and I'm in several different Facebook groups that seem to have a lot of Canadian presence in them. And man, those people are just like, what the fuck is going on down there, guys? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I thought, I thought we were kind of on this peace kind of thing. We were going in the right direction for so many years. Even though Obama wasn't the perfect president, sure, he was doing fucked up shit just like everybody else, but not on to near the level of what we've reached at this point. But regardless, let's move on and get on to your next topic. Before we can talk about this for hours.
I'm telling you, they're just all downhill from here. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Beep, 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 beep. This just in. Story number 2 is from India.
Oh.
Frank, you familiar with India?
Yeah, that's where Indiana Jones went for the Temple of Doom, I believe.
Well, he travels there in several of the films, so we'll give you that one. I love India. I love their people. I love their food. Indian food is my new favorite thing. I've discovered it recently.
Wow.
It's delicious.
I tried that one time, and it is not for me, buddy. Too much flour flavors and stuff.
A lot of spices. I like it. It's
different.
It's like a buffet of different flavors in your mouth.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
That's what I will say. I will say, Indian food, if you are the person that's bored with just what you've been eating, try that, because it is a wild change. And you either like it or you don't, I think. It's one of those things.
Side note, I recently had a deep fried goat cheese dipped in chutney, which is like a mint dip.
Wow, where did you get that? Yeah. What cotillion?
At an Indian restaurant.
Oh, it sounds so fucking fancy, man.
Yeah.
All right. But anyways, what happened
so news story is they have a airline company there called Jet Airways.
Yes.
They're not as up to speed as most jet airliners in different civilized nations, because as flight crew for this flight that took off on Friday found, they forgot to turn the cabin pressure on.
Oh, really?
And about halfway up, 30 people's noses exploded into bloody messes.
Wow.
And 7 people's eardrums burst.
Wow! Oh, what a horrifying thing.
Yeah, and they had to make an emergency landing, all because they didn't do the very basic thing you would do before you fly into, 20,000 feet into the sky, and that's make sure that the air pressure is even.
Oh my God. That would.
But could you imagine? Just imagine being on that flight. I hate to fly anyways, but
right.
You're just sitting there, starting to lean back, read your book maybe, and then your nose just explodes.
You got to assume that there was a lot of screaming leading up to that too, because you would feel the buildup of the pressure. So you'd be like, boom. Oh shit! Everybody's like, ah! And if you were one of the lucky ones that didn't have anything happen for some reason, you'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
And I'm a big conspiracy theory guy anyway, so I would immediately look and see other people's noses were bleeding and think that there was a virus released. So I'd be the guy getting out of my seat trying to bust a window open.
Looking for fucking backpacks or parachutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fuck that shit. That's crazy. What did they do? Did they have to like land real quick? Or?
Yeah, they basically leveled off and then had to make an emergency landing at a nearby airport. So,
oh, God.
I mean, they're lucky that the pilots didn't pass out or some shit.
Right, yeah, that could have went real sideways. Oh, my God. Well, that's what you get for flying. That's why I don't...
Like, can you imagine they're just walking around, you're just starting to get even out, and they're, yes, what would you like? Would you like a bottle of water and maybe some mint chutney? Oh, huh? Eardrums are bleeding.
Oh my God, so terrible. Anyways,
yeah.
Wow. Take warning, flyers. That might happen to you.
Yeah.
That sounds like some Stephen King shit. Really, I don't know how I would think I was in a Stephen King thing. I'd be like, what's going on? Am I in what's that one on the plane?
Oh, that's from the Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's something on the wing. But yeah, that would be a pretty good Stephen King story. You could call it The Pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just name it whatever height that happened at. There was like 40,000 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go on to your next topic.
All right, my third and final story comes from London, England. Familiar with London?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, are you familiar with the artist Banksy?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah.
I actually have one of his prints hanging in my restroom. It's an old 1940s guy who's painting over this like Broadway show kind of poster.
Yeah.
And it says your dreams are canceled.
I really liked his Dismal Land or whatever it was, like that amusement park. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, I did. He's an artist. You guys should look him up. Google him. YouTube. There's a bunch of amazing shit. I think he's a genius. I love the guy.
Yeah.
He did the greatest thing I've ever heard. He did the greatest thing. He one-upped himself in my eyes over this. So he makes a painting that's it's called A Girl with a Balloon, and it's a little girl on a white canvas, and she's accidentally let go and is trying to catch the string of a balloon that's made into a heart.
Right.
It's very plain compared to some of his art. It doesn't say much, right? And it's in this elaborate frame, beautiful ornate frame, and so he donated it, and then so some asshole was going to sell it to make money. So the guy that ended up getting it puts it on an auction block in London, and it goes up for sale, and a guy buys it for $1.4 million. Okay. Here's the kicker. Banksy has an agent in the audience because he's heard this. The frame has a built-in, this is so great, a built-in shredder.
Yeah.
So the moment the money was transferred, the agent in the audience pressed a button and walked out, and the painting dropped through the shredder in the frame. And it shredded itself. It's self-destructed.
Now I saw I didn't see. I saw like a little bit of video and I saw some photos. Did it completely run through the printer, or did it go halfway?
It looked like it got halfway and then it got caught, or something happened where it didn't go through, or maybe that was his intention, was to only destroy half of it, or just enough of it to be fucked so that it's basically worthless.
Yeah, the thing I read was that he said it was like the fact that it shredded was like integral to the art piece now.
Yeah, yeah. That's how he's getting away with it, basically. And I'm wondering if he's the one that got the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But I think it's genius. It's like you just tricked some dummy art person into buying a painting of yours for 1.4 million, and then you destroy it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about art to me is like I appreciate people that paint. I know several people that do paintings, and they sell them, but I would never pay what they ask for a painting. I mean, I just wouldn't. I know a guy that sells his paintings for like $100, $200. I'm not paying for that, sir. I'm not paying that. I don't care. I don't care what it is.
Actually had a piece commissioned once from an artist that I know. It's the guy, Michael C. Hall from Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
And it's done with these really expensive reds, so dark reds, and it looks like a blood splatter painting that makes his face up.
Right.
And I have it in a frame. It's really neat. I'll shoot you a picture of it when we're done.
Cool.
But the original price she wanted was like $150, and I talked her down to $80.
Right.
But even that, I was like, man, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, it is. And like, I understand you're talented and stuff, but also I understand that you're prolific in this area. So it's like, I know that it might be worth, if it was harder for you to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was something like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. I appreciate it a lot. I want to support art, but I don't think that you got it priced right. Because I know people that also, on that same note, do art and give it to people for free, or they hide it in the world, i.e. Janie Collins and stuff. She'll like just take little pieces of art she makes and hide them places, and people come across that. And I think that's cool. I think that art needs to be appreciated on that level more than the money side, because I think that it kind of contradicts itself. If you're like paying a bunch of money for a piece of art, the art is automatically invalid, sort of. I don't know. It's a weird thing to get into, but
I always give some of mine away. You know what I mean? I don't know if you would consider art what I do with the writing, but like one of my last book, I took specific copies to different concerts that I went to,
right,
and then walked up to musicians after it was over and introduced myself and said, thanks for playing tonight. Here's a little something that I do. Just kind of an exchange of art, kind of.
And I think that's
kind of neat.
And I've had that happen several times too. The thing I think, like you write books, right? Now I would expect something that, like if you had taken your book and hand wrote it and bound it by hand, and there was like, that was the copy, and then to make another copy you had to hand write it and bind it by hand, that would be worth $200. But a painting that someone does, I don't necessarily feel that that's something that's worth that has that much into it, like, because your book's cheaper than any painting I've ever seen, and and you worked probably way longer on it and toiled over it. It's just a weird, and music is priced oddly too. Some people give all their stuff
It's
away.
all subjective, like to me, you can always tell, and this is my opinion, and I might be wrong on this, and if some artists get mad, I'm sorry, but like, if you really want people to get your work, or to take it, like if you're doing it for the love of it and not trying to become a millionaire off of it or what have you, then you'll make adjustments for that. Like the girl with the painting I commissioned. I just told her I couldn't afford it, and I really wanted it though, and she still did it. To me, that's like her saying, I like this and I want to do it, and the money is subjective, So.
Right. I just look at it like I would love to support these painters, but I never ever in my life will have $100 to drop on a painting. Not in my life. Never will. But anyways, let's move into my topics with Frank's findings.
Frank's findings.
All right, I don't have anything as weighty as what you brought to the table up front, but I got some fun things. My first story, residents of an English town were haunted by the sounds of children singing at all hours of the day and night. And I sent you the clip, the little audio clip.
I heard it. That was freaking me out.
Yeah, let's take a listen to that right now. So that's playing like day and night, and they can't figure out where it's coming from. It's just, terrifying. I mean,
Yeah.
that's haunting and miserable to live with that. They eventually they find out upon investigation that it was coming from the security system of a nearby warehouse. Now, it was evidently intended to scare away. I mean, it would scare away if you were trying to break into a place, and then all of a sudden, creepy children singing just starts happening. You would run away, I assume. But
yeah.
basically, spiders had made their home in a few of the different lenses on this security system, and every time they'd go across it, they would set it off. So, yeah, terrible.
So they were trying to keep spiders away? That's even freakier.
No, it wasn't to keep spiders away. Spiders had just made their homes in the lenses.
I see. So it was setting it off.
Yeah, motion
during
sensor.
the night. Okay.
So yeah, but fucking.
I like how people jump to conclusions in these scenarios too. Like immediately, there was some old lady that's like, "There's ghosts of dead children that sing in my backyard," as opposed to trying to figure out what actually it is.
Yeah. But I know that terror, man, because I don't know if you remember me telling you about when I looked out my back. I was outside smoking, looked out off my back porch, and I saw I didn't even know they were a thing, but those Chinese lanterns. The school had let off like 100 or 200 of these Chinese lanterns, which I had no idea was happening. A, did not know that they were a thing. B, and they don't move like airplanes or anything you would ever see, so it's like nighttime. So all I see is these lights like floating and bumping into each other. I'm like, oh, okay, this is terrifying. And then I believe I called up our friend Joe Sunderman, who lived across town, and I'm so stupid. His house is facing the other way. He couldn't even, he had to do a lot of shit to go out and look towards my side of town. And he's like, dude, I don't see nothing. And I'm like, I am very scared, sir. I'm going to let you go because this probably confused you. But I found out the next day that they had released a bunch of those off. And I was like, you have to let people know if shit like this is happening. Just like I would assume you'd have to let your neighbors know, like, hey, guys, by the way, I got a security system here. It's not your normal beep, beep, bop, bop, beep, beep, do, whatever. It's going to be singing creepy children because we have it programmed that way,
Yeah.
Weird. But
You would think that somebody would give you a heads up.
yeah, you'd think it'd be just nice to let your neighbors know.
Yeah.
My second story: a man in Florida allegedly dumped a bucket of human feces and urine inside a 7-Eleven in St. Petersburg. The police say he got the waste from an outhouse and damaged a straw hat and do-rag in the scuffle, estimated at a cost of around $28. So,
no.
Yeah, police are saying it may have been an act of revenge. So, I want to pontificate on what possibly the revenge could have been. Because they said
Well, have you ever been into a 7-Eleven?
I don't believe I have. Maybe.
I've been in one, and I can tell you I've wanted to throw a bucket of shit at somebody.
Like, do you think he just had a cold burrito or something? Or you know what?
Yeah, they probably wouldn't take his change for cigarettes or something stupid.
Well, they said he got kicked out, so maybe he tried to wheeze the juice,
Yeah. No wheezing the juice.
No wheezing the juice. No, I wanted to bring that story up because it was funny. He looked like a dude straight out of fucking Ohio, man. Like you're like that guy. I've seen that guy. But anyways, on to my last topic here. We haven't done this show for a while, and we never talked about this. Do you remember the black sarcophagus they pulled out of the ground in Egypt? Do you remember that?
Yes, I did. I saw that a while back. Yep.
Do you also remember that there was a petition going around by some insane people that wanted to drink the liquid in the sarcophagus?
I do. Yes.
That's the whole story. I
don't know what they thought they were going to gain. I think dysentery, but
they would have died.
Yeah.
But evidently they just dumped that shit out on like the streets or something. That's what I read in the article.
Unbelievable.
Because I just ran across it. I was going back months. I'm like, God, I forgot all about that. I wonder if they ever got to drink it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what I understood was that the sarcophagus wasn't completely sealed, so water or moisture got into it and it liquefied the mummy, right?
Yeah, something like that. But like Yeah, but first of all, why didn't we just let him drink it? I mean, that's a scientific experiment if I ever seen one. I mean, if they're done, like, if you're like, imagine if we popped it open, right? Oh fuck,
Yeah.
what's this, Randy? Oh, I don't know if we should open that. We should probably. I don't think we'd open it first of all because it's a black sarcophagus, and we've seen enough
Right.
movies to know you pop that fucking thing open, there goes the whole end of the world right there. But so let's say we do pop it open, and some idiot comes over and is like, "Hey, can I drink that?" I'd go like, I'd like look at you and I'd be like, I guess so.
Get yourself a tin cup, sir.
That looks good. I'll drink that. All right, well, go ahead.
I would love it if I was terminal. I would volunteer, and then when I drank it, immediately start going, like roll my eyes back and go emo tip. You know, like, I mean, people are insane, man.
Yeah, I think that they thought they were going to get like some superpowers or something, which is it's like we've stopped all forms of natural selection because the guys that want to drink the stuff out of the tomb, they should die probably. I mean whatever, but
No, I agree. Like back in the day, if they would have discovered it at say in the 30s, they would have just drank it and died, and we would have never had their bloodline. Wouldn't have been affecting us now.
we wouldn't have this fucking situation. But one more thing I wanted to bring up was this big scuttlebutt with Bette Midler. Did you see that? The backlash from her posting she quoted the John Lennon Yoko Ono song, "Woman is the N-word of the world" or whatever, of the universe. Have you seen that?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know Bette Midler was still a relevant icon.
Yeah, evidently she only pops up once in a while to chastise Kim Kardashian or to say something that evidently offends everybody. Basically, you know that John Lennon and Yoko had that song, "Woman is the," I think it's "Woman is the nigger of the world" or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard it like once or twice in my life, and I don't anything that Yoko was directly involved with. I was never a fan.
It's a bad song. Here, take a little listen to it, just so we have some frame of reference.
Woman is the nigger of the world. Yes, she is. Think about it. Woman is the nigger of the world. Think about it. Do something about it. We make her paint her faces dance. If she won't be a slave, we say that she don't love. If she's real, we say she's trying to be a man. While putting her down, we pretend so hard that she's above us. Woman is the nigger of the world.
Regardless, it's bad. It's a bad song. And I saw our friend Nate Puppets had posted, he was upset about this because she had quoted it and then she said women are, whatever, talking about this Kavanaugh shit, and basically how women are never treated well at all. And I thought that her referencing it was just basically bringing forth once again the conversation of equality in both race and sexuality. I thought that she wasn't the person to get mad at. If you're going to get mad at anybody, get mad at John Lennon for writing that song. Of course, she did reference it and agree with it, basically, or condone it. But regardless, it's fucking. You're pointing the blame at the wrong person. She's trying to spark a discussion about this shit, and I don't know. It was a weird thing because all I said was, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that she was referencing a John Lennon song. I didn't want people to be like, Bette Midler said that or whatever, because she put it in quotes.
And some people don't know. Like, you're right. Like, some people literally have no idea that their idea of when the world began was 1981 for some reason. You know? Like, that's a long time ago. I had a kid tell me once who was 22, I asked him if they'd ever seen the Goonies, and he was like, "Oh no, I don't watch classic movies." And I'm like, "It's from like 30 years ago, dude. Classic movies are like from the 50s." Oh, I didn't even know they made movies in the 50s. Oh, okay, your entire generation has a box in your hand every day, all day, of infinite information, and you don't know basic shit. So.
Yeah, but that's the reason I said this. And all I said was this was originally a song from John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And they're like, I don't give a fuck who it was. I was like, I was just trying to give you a proper frame of reference. You can get mad all you want.
I'm going to go on a limb and defend Bette Midler, too, because I didn't know she said that, but she's not wrong. In the history of humanity, women of every race were subjugated. So it doesn't matter. I mean, women have never had equal footing. It doesn't matter what color they are.
That's what I mean?
So I guess if you're looking at the original use of a derogatory term, that might make sense. And I guess I see why John Lennon would have written that in that time period that he's from.
It does make sense, and I said that on a he had posted several times about this, and on one of the posts I said, well, I think that you're getting mad at her for the wrong reasons, because she, first of all, she's speaking to, yes, it is, women are that to the world, because no matter what race you are, a woman is being treated terribly. If you're a black woman, you're getting treated terribly. If you're a black lesbian woman, you're on the worst scale of things.
If you're a Muslim woman or a Indian woman,
a trans woman nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I read about all these attacks. You know, we were talking about India earlier but their culture is just now. It's 2018. They're just now stopping people from gang raping each other. Back in 10 years ago, half the people would get off of it because they would just be like, oh, well, no, we're their word against theirs. They don't like. There's different cultures, but women in the history of the world, so like since we've been evolved, have been put as second-class citizens. It is. That's just true. Yeah.
There's countries where they can't drive. There's countries where they throw acid on them on a regular basis. Yeah. There's just fucked up shit that goes. It makes sense. You might not like the phrasing of it, but it's meant to do that, because back in the day, protest songs weren't just "I love you, you love me." They would say something that was bold to cause people to discuss things, because there was no internet to spark it. You had to have these conversations in person with people. So, if you say something bold and blunt, it's going to get a conversation going for sure. You can't pussyfoot around an actual in-person conversation with somebody. But I just wanted to mention that because it kind of fucking bothered me a little bit. But what doesn't bother me anymore, that we live in a world of bothersome people that are controlling everything. So
yeah, I get so mad all the time. I literally, if I didn't do this stuff with you guys, I would just delete social media. You would never hear from me again on social media.
It's the only thing that I use it for, basically. Sometimes I'll share stuff I like. I try to keep it positive on there. I try not to talk about too many things. This is where I talk about politics and stuff, because I'm not going to have some asshole respond to me in some way that I don't like. And I know that sounds like I'm a self-centered asshole, but I don't need it. I'm having a hard enough time trying to figure out my own feelings on most of the shit that's happening in the world. I don't need some asshole that is completely delusional interrupting my thought process with his nonsense.
I had that happen, today. I was talking about it on Facebook. I said, I'm just reading a news article, and I made a comment correcting somebody's ignorance about a topic, and then they're like, you're just some liberal cuck, like using bullet point words, that they read somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm like going back and forth, and then finally I'm like, why am I arguing with these fucking idiots? They're not going to get smarter.
No.
I'm not elevating them to intelligence. I finally just deleted it, and then I had people on my page, because I was talking about how you can't even give correct information anymore. Like, you can't even go, oh, and that's actually not the case, without somebody coming out of the woodwork and going, that's liberal nonsense. Like, no, that's a fact. A fact's a fact. You know what I mean? You're telling an untruth. Here's a fact. So, and then you get people that go, well, why'd you delete it? You should have stuck by it. I'm like, I've got time for that shit.
I do it all the time.
My phone was ringing every 5 seconds. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I'll post something and then I'll get mixed up into some argument and just immediately delete it. The last thing I posted about that caused some bullshit that made me delete it was basically there's this issue 1 going around right now. The law enforcement and the judicial branches of government are all joining forces with Christian groups to try to get this issue 1 voted no. They want a no on it. And basically, they're trying to scare people by saying all these felons are going to be out in the streets and whatnot, and this and that and the other thing. But what this thing wants to... there will be some jobs lost. There won't be as many fucking assholes in the judicial system to fucking rake people over the coals who already have it hard enough with a drug addiction. So... it's going to make it easier for people that have addictions. But if you don't face the problem that we have with addictions some positive way, it's not going to change. I don't think. Right. But they're basically saying, the felons are going to be running the streets. No one's going to take cops seriously. Nobody does anyways, in my opinion. I don't take them seriously because I don't see them doing a lot of productive work. So...
they got a lot of time to make lip sync videos lately. I'll tell you that. Lip
sync videos, it's all about lip sync videos and sobriety checkpoints. So,
can I ask you a quick question too, Frank, on that too? Lip sync videos. When somebody watches a lip sync video with a bunch of cops, after it's over, do they go, "Oh, they're just like me"?
yeah.
Because I never once have done that. I just wonder if that's what people do.
I had a person tell me that most cops are former military, and that I should respect them just as much as I do military. And I said, listen here, I have about as much respect for both of them. If you're a good police officer, I respect you. If you're a good military person, I also respect you. I may not respect your mission because I still don't fucking understand most of your missions. I don't get why we're doing that at all. So, I have a different perspective. I'm not going to fall in line with how anybody else feels about it, but I think you have to be a very specific type of person to sign up for military service or police work. Now,
I agree.
Now, you're either the type of person who wants to be a hero or you're a power-hungry asshole. So, I mean, and I've known people that have went and joined the military because they wanted to kill people. So, I mean...
I've known people that have joined the military because that was their only escape from an area. They'd there was that or a factory.
Yeah.
And then they come back and then they want to tell me that they were doing it for other reasons, and I'm like, no, that I know you. I know that's not the truth. So, and then I'm the asshole in that situation. Well, I guess I'm supposed to just wave a flag all the time and salute everybody in uniform and just eat a shit sandwich and just smile. Oh, at least I got a shit sandwich.
Yeah, that's that's what it means to be American anymore. You're either you got your fluoride smile kicking and you're waving that flag for real, or you are doing it because you are forced to, because we're almost in a tyranny at this point.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, looking back, doing this show specifically. If we would go back to before, the Trump era, we had such a positive outlook on the political world, and now we're just like in the doldrums. We're just like, we're like, yeah, well, this is.
I'm out here preaching anarchy in the streets. I'm saying, fuck both parties. Rise up and create your own thing.
Yeah.
I wish I had enough power and willpower and hell, courage to go into like real just shitty parts of Columbus that nobody wants to go into and talk to gangs. I would love, and just like sit down with a gang leader and go, dude, you've got more power than anybody in this area. You know what I mean? Yeah. And go, why don't you create your own party and step up, and then like and just go, we control this now, because who's going to stop you? Who's going to fucking stop you? You know what I mean? and I just wish I had that, like, to connect several of these groups of people together and be like, look what you could do together. You have a fucking army here. You have 200 people. There aren't even 200 people on the entire Columbus police force.
All I can picture is like the news story is Randy Wotan connects warring gangs, Bloods and Crips unite.
Yeah.
And then it's like a picture of you, like shaking hands with both of them. Like, we got it together, guys. We're the
And like, well, I could see him going, well, what do you want from it? I don't want anything. I don't want a dime. I just want to step back and watch it all burn and watch these people that have destroyed your lives. And let's be honest, they've had the boot on our throats for most of my life, too.
Oh yeah.
And watch them have to run around and try to make ends meet.
The funny thing is, I think that it's going to collapse on itself. I think it's going to be like it's kind of like we're watching it happen right now, because we're watching this government being stacked with fucking incapable people, idiots. Terrible humans. It's just gonna. Our fucking president thought there was an actual plane that was invisible. Like it's going to fall apart. There's nothing that's going to be able to hold it together for very much longer. Especially not with all the accusations and lawsuits, and they're going to sue themselves into oblivion. They're not even gonna. They're just going to be stuck in courthouses all the time, battling with each other over the stupidest. Oh man, yeah. It just gets me in a whirlwind of nonsense.
If I could get one thing across, it would be this is for all of our gang members that are listening. If you could get a hold of upper management in your gang and say, listen, I was listening to this guy. He made a lot of sense. If we make peace between ourselves and we don't fight over this same block in Franklinton, and we band together and we go just 6 blocks over to the rich neighborhoods and take what we want and burn it down, they're not going to do nothing. We can fight us.
Randy, I don't think we should be promoting gang warfare.
No. They're not warring anything. No, they're taking back what was stolen from them.
All I can picture is Judgment Night. Like
that is correct.
You're going to incite some Dennis Leary motherfucker to go into the rich neighborhoods. It's got to be a Dennis Leary type. That's who I want.
Yeah, exactly. I want a chain smoking crazy person to be running that army, and then saying, like, I just kind of, and if you guys could do this for me, and I don't want any money, but maybe when you're leaving and there's like a wall left or a brick wall, spray paint my face on it and put Ray Lives. That would be great.
Oh my god. We're going to get kicked off iTunes with this shit.
I'm just kidding. This is all satire. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not. But seriously, if you want to band together and change your neighborhoods, go out and vote. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, make a change.
Or burn it down. Or vote.
No, but seriously, on this issue 1 shit, vote yes on it. Because stop the war on drugs, first of all. And don't let these fucking police officers scare you with their goddamn shit. Because that's all they're trying to do is control you and make you afraid of drug criminals. I mean, ultimately, what's the worst thing a drug criminal is going to do? They're going to die of drugs, right?
Well, according to my nightly news, they might hit my grandma on the head with a hammer and steal her purse. I don't know. I don't know. It's just that's what they say on the news. I don't.
All my life, I've been told, like the DARE program, be afraid of drugs. Be afraid of the pusher, man. I've never seen a fucking pusher, man, okay? I live in a town that has a high heroin count. There's a lot of heroin addicts in this town. And I've never once seen a heroin pusher, okay? So I think if you want heroin, you got to look for it. It's not like... So drug criminals are essentially only damaging themselves. And they're funding our police force... they can't get their life together. That's the way I look at it. If you are addicted to heroin, you are probably depressed. I think they go hand in hand. And if you get caught with heroin and then they fine you, you don't have the money to pay for that because you've got to buy more heroin. I mean, honestly. So let's just have some sympathy for people that are caught in that fucking particular mousetrap. It's not.
What I took away from that was that there is a vacuum there for a heroin pusher. And that somebody needs to step in and be a crime lord, it sounds like.
Well, I think if who knows, Randy? If they pass this thing through, we might have crime lords on every corner. Just with their machine guns and hanging out and with their drug bags.
With their drug bags.
Yeah, I just think it's
like they've got slung over leather satchels. What do you want? PCP? I got it.
Oh shit. Anyways, let's wrap this episode up. Anything else you want to say? You want to promote your books or anything?
I could promote my books. I'm a writer. My name's Randall Wotan, and in real life I go by Ray McGuff in my fake life. But you can go to Amazon.com and type in Randall, Randal, 1L, Wotan, spelled Woten, and peruse my writing and buy a book or two. Short story, got a novella that tells you everything about them on there. As for everything else, right now I'm on hiatus. I'm taking a little vacation till I think after the holidays, and then I'm going to get started again. So
there we go. We got ourselves a future homeowner in the house. Homeowner.
That's for a new episode later down. I've got. Hey, fuck it. I'm going to announce it now. Let's see what happens. I'm supposed to sign Tuesday, so we'll see what happens.
Homeowner Randy Wotan coming to a neighborhood near me. Yeah, but thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe, rate, review. I know you won't do any of that. If you want to email us, you won't do that either, but it's zombietakeovertelevision@gmail.com. Thanks to all of our new listeners. I saw we had some new foreign listeners. I wish I could remember where they were. Canada.
Norway.
No, I don't think it was Norway.
Yeah, because I remember I wrote them down
for
my.
Oh,
yeah. There was Sweden and Norway.
UK was in there, but there was some new ones this week that I hadn't seen before. Oh. I'll have to let you know later what those were.
And people from Norway, do I get to call you Ouija's? I don't know. You can put that in the comments.
We're liable to. We are on Google Podcasts now. I don't know if anybody uses that, but we're there. So we're on all the major things.
Are we on NPR?
No. I wish we were. We'd be doing a lot better.
I'd like to be on NPR. I listen to NPR a lot.
Well, I'll work on it. We'll see what we can. Thanks for listening to the Strange Findings, guys. We will talk to you again sometime.
We make a painted faces, yeah. We make a painted faces.